Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming to the City of Palm Coast Council Business Meeting. Today is Tuesday, August the 2nd, 2022 at 6 p.m., and we are in the community wing of City Hall. And with that, I would ask you all to please rise and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If the clerk would call the roll, please.
Mayor Alfin.
Present.
Vice Mayor Branquino is appearing by Zoom.
Here.
Councilmember Danko.
Here.
Councilmember Finelli.
Present.
Councilmember Clufus.
Present.
Mayor, all members are present.
Thank you. We move to the public participation item of our agenda this evening. In order for city staff to be able to respond to your questions or concerns, please fill out a comment card with your contact information. The comment cards can be found on the table near the agendas or available from the Communications and Marketing Director seated in the back. Public participation shall be held in accordance with Section 286.0114 Florida statutes and pursuant to the City Council's meeting policies and procedures. Each speaker shall at the podium provide their name and may speak for up to 3 minutes. The public may provide comments to the City Council relative to matters not on the agenda at the times indicated in this agenda. Following any comments from the public, there may be discussion by the City Council. When addressing the City Council on specific enumerated agenda items, speakers shall direct all comments to the mayor, make their comments concise and to the point, not speak more than once on the same subject, not by speech or otherwise delay or interrupt the proceedings or the peace of City Council, obey the orders of the mayor or the City Council, and not make any irrelevant, impertinent, or slanderous comments while addressing the City Council, which pursuant to council rules shall be considered disorderly. Any person who becomes disorderly or who fails to confine his or her comments to the identified subject or business shall be cautioned by the mayor and thereafter must conclude his or her remark on the subject within the remaining designated time limit. Any speaker failing to comply as cautioned shall be barred from making any additional comments during the meeting and may be removed as necessary for the remainder of the meeting. So with that, I will open up the meeting for public comment, and I will ask the first speaker to please step forward. I would ask you, please, we have people tuning in virtually to move the microphone as close to your mouth as you can so that they can hear your comments as well.
No
Thank
one
you.
has ever complained about me being too quiet.
Okay.
My name is Deborah Sines. I was last here in April of 2021 to ask for the City Council. Some of your faces have changed since then, but I was here to ask for your help. I live on Cimarron Drive. I told you about an incident where I was almost hit by a truck, and I also told you that I wasn't an engineer. I asked you to get one, and I told you I had to drive my dog so I can walk him. My message today is very different because things have changed. Some not so good. You put some signs up that tell drivers to share the road with bicyclists, joggers. Either some people can't read or they just don't pay attention to the signs. You had 2 traffic studies done. And now we're up to 37 1,500 cars a day. That's up, I want to say, I think it was 3,500 the first time you did the study. Cimarron Drive, there's only one way in, one way out. There are no gas stations, stores, laundromats, banks. All there is are residences. At the end of Cimarron Drive, where it would dead end back in the day, there is a gated community called the Sanctuary. When they got permission to build that, they built a little bridge over a canal. Unfortunately, they only built it to enter the sanctuary. They didn't build another bridge, nor were they required to, that would dump them out on Palm Coast Parkway. The sanctuary has speed bumps. We on Cimarron do not. As a result, people coming out of the gated community, the second those speed bumps are gone, they're speeding. They're dangerous. As a result, I still can't walk my dog. I'm driving to walk my dog. There's 170 lots there. They're building the last 70 houses. My message to you today is different. You're on notice now. God forbid somebody gets hurt. I will dust off my bar card and help the family of whoever gets hurt. I'm asking you to consider us in the budget.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please. Either one.
Good evening, George Mayo, Palm Coast. I was hoping the city might have done it, but I'm traveling on Town Center Boulevard from State Road 100 all the way up through the roundabout. The lines in the center of the road and the side of the road are completely worn away. And many times when I use that, people think it's a one-lane road and they're driving down the center of the road, going through the roundabout. There's supposed to be 2 lanes and they cut left and right. And I just hope that the city can repaint the lines there for safety's sake. Many times, like I said, you'll be behind somebody, they think it's a one-lane road when it's 2. There are no lines, they're just completely worn away, all the way up through the roundabout, almost up to the school. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Bless you. Bless you. Hi, good evening. Joe Runak, 7 Courtney Court, my first time here. Nice to see all of you. I just would like to make a few comments regarding the Friday night meeting of the proposed cell phone tower at 7 Clubhouse Drive. There were approximately 80 to 100 in attendance. Everyone agreed this is not a good idea. The location would be extremely visible from dozens and dozens of homes. It's primarily a residential area. Again, I felt the timing was poor. A Friday night meeting in the summer. Some of my neighbors are away. And I believe there would be a lot more people would have been there and been involved. I received a letter from the cell phone company, but some of my neighbors did not. I feel I am at ground zero. I am the closest person, and I have the most direct view of this proposed tower. At the meeting, the principals of the cell phone tower and their attorney made it seem like it was a done deal, like it was already to be put up. And a lot of residents didn't understand that at all. It was my understanding that the city council has to make decisions and the planning board has to make decisions regarding this. At the meeting, we were told not to ask questions. At the meeting, the phrase, "I don't know," was uttered by the attorney numerous times in all the concerned residents. We all agreed we've never seen a cell phone tower in such a residential area, and comments from them as you won't see it at night and it will be painted a pleasing color, frankly, did not go over well. I understand that this was tried in 2020 on other parts of the golf course. I am on the 15th tee of the Palm Harbor Golf Course. I extend open invitation to the entire City Council, to you, Mr. Mayor, to please come and see my point of view firsthand, what this would do regarding my view, what it would do regarding the value of my home. Everyone was quite upset. The project is not as of right and needs exceptions. I've emailed Ms. Lenz in the planning department, and she also mentioned special exemptions were needed. Myself, I speak on behalf of all my neighbors, and we ask you to squash this and do not put the tower there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. The next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Rhonda Stapleford, and I'm here to talk about safety on Cimarron. As the previous public safety on Cimarron speaker mentioned, the latest vehicle count was like 3,700. That's per day. If you multiply that over a year, you have well in excess of 1 million vehicles on Cimarron, which is just a narrow 2-lane road. Now, I'm both a walker and a biker, and I have been run off the road in both occasions, walking and on bikes. It is extremely dangerous, especially on the curves. And trucks, the big construction vehicles, often do not yield whatsoever. They just barrel through. The other area of concern is for the children that are waiting at the bus stop. When they wait at the corner of Comanche Court and Cimarron, they are literally standing in the street, or they're sitting on the street right at the curb, which is the swale. So they're either in the street waiting for the school bus because there is no place for them to stand, or in the swale, which oftentimes is underwater. And so it is not a good situation for the children. And as the parents queue up their vehicles and we come from behind them to turn right onto Cimarron, we don't know there's kids sitting on the ground there because we can't see them because of the vehicles in front. And that is just, to me, a very, very dangerous situation. It would be nice if we could consider some kind of sidewalk for the bikers, joggers, dog walkers, and the kids for when they get on the bus. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. Anna Maria Long, Executive Officer of Flagler Home Builders Association. Today I'm here to talk about the ACH, that's the bank transfer fee of 3.5% that is assessed when paying permit and inspection fees. As Palm Coast resident myself, I can go on to the Palm Coast utility website and I can pay my water bill via ACH transfer with 0 fees, because it's a bank transfer and the purpose of it is to reduce staff time on both ends, right? It's supposed to make things easier. However, if I were to go and make a payment on the permitting and inspection fees, I'll be charged 3.5%. Doesn't seem like a lot, but the average cost of that is of the permit and inspection fees is $17,000. So 3.5% on that is $595. Conversely, it would not cost me that much to pay staff to write checks and find them. However, it is very inconvenient. I could also overnight a check for $27 per the USPS from wherever my home office would be. And that in turn would create more work, obviously, on the staff side here. Recently, the building department did a really cool survey where they figured out, not survey, but report where they figured out, exactly how much every inspection costs. And I wonder how much it costs the city when a staff person has to get the mail, open the mail, copy the check, deposit the check, attach it to the right person, etc. And now we're not talking about credit card fees, to be super clear. Credit card fees, totally understand. They charge you, the end user needs to pay it, no problem. But when we're talking about a bank-to-bank transfer, I think that fee should be assessed. So I understand you're looking at new payment systems. So I hope that you can look at that specifically in your new payment systems, that would just be an eliminated issue. If not, then I would ask that you look at why that fee is there. And either way, I would love to know where that money goes, that 3.5%. Is it actually being charged to you? And maybe a bad agreement with the payment company? Is it going to the general fund? I don't know. So that would be my comment. And I apologize, I cannot stay tonight. I have to get home to the Twinners. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carmen Souza, and the reason I'm here is to talk about my concerns regarding Cimarron Drive. I moved to Palm Coast 4 years ago with my parents, and on my free time I like to bike. But Cimarron Drive is very dangerous, become very dangerous. The traffic and drivers not respect the speed limit. So I have to get up very early to be able to bike before the traffic starts, to make sure I can come back home safe to take care of my parents. So today I'm here to ask the city of Palm Coast to think about what we need for the safety of our neighborhood. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Corey Herod. I live on Cimarron, and I'd like to address the issue on the Simran Walkway. I recognize that this is an inherited problem, basically, from the developers long before Palm Coast was a city. And from my previous business experience, I know that every solution to a problem is a series of trade-offs from a cost-benefit point of view to find the cleanest dirty shirt. So what drew us to Palm Coast was the extensive walking, biking, trails, and parks infrastructure. That was the real draw for us here. But what we realized after moving here and building our house is that what was missing was that last mile connector to tie us into the existing infrastructure. And really what's changed in the last 4 years here is the massive build out in our area, basically, of new homes, and the associated increase in both commercial and residential traffic associated with that. And also, there's been a fair amount of people that used to be seasonal that are now full-time over the last couple of years. So the general population and the general traffic has really increased quite a bit. What's also increased, basically, is the increased utilization of the roadways for walking, for both recreational and health reasons, as well as people walking their pets, and of course biking. And the increases in the various types of traffic, coupled with the increase in pedestrian use, has really increased the amount of pedestrian and vehicle interaction exponentially over this time frame. And one of the things, I know there's been a lot of studies, the engineering work, there's been a great amount of work done. I know you guys are getting ready for the budget process. And what I would ask is that the advantage that the Cimarron project has is you already have a significant community engagement and support, which may or may not exist for other areas where this has been looked at. So I would ask basically that if you look at this and use us as a beta site on how this might be more widely done as a citywide approach. Also, you hear many folks tonight talk about traffic and the safety issues and stuff. And there may be some immediate solutions that we could look at. You know, one of the things that as you come out of Cimarron and want to cross Palm Harbor to get to the the sidewalks and the bike paths over there, is maybe putting in a crosswalk with the lighted systems like they have at Colbert and Palm Coast Parkway off the St. Joe Trail. And then the Dead Man's Curve, which you'll probably hear a lot about basically on Cimarron. Maybe there's an opportunity to put some permanent speed limit signs with the flashing lights and maybe some rumble strips to slow people down. Because I don't know how many times I've come around there, there's been like a commercial vehicle parked on the side of the road there. You don't see them until you're in, and then there may be a walker or a bike there. So there's a lot of dodging that has to take place. So I appreciate your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. The next speaker, please.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. My name is Scott Coram, 27 Cleveland Court. Again, Cimarron safety. I just want to put one other thing to your minds. Everybody walks, everybody rides their bike, everybody walks their dog, all the same things that everybody else said. The only thing I have to add is, right after I purchased my house, I had an accident and I was on a knee walker for 7 months. And I also had a dog that didn't care I was on a knee walker, had to go to the bathroom. Had no choice. When you're walking or biking and you've got two good legs, it's dangerous, but you can get out of the way of these cars. And when you're on a knee walker and you put it onto the grass because you're getting out of the way for your life, I fell a couple of times with the knee. You know, the walker hits the grass and you fall. Sometimes you just don't have a choice. And the handicap situation, I know several people. I mean, thank God I'm recovered and I've got two fairly good legs now, but some people don't. And some people are in a wheelchair or a walker or, they just can't do it, and that's permanent. So it's just another thing for you guys to think about. It really is a safety issue. I appreciate you listening to us.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have a next speaker, please? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Fining. I've lived on Cimarron for 3 years, and in that time, my mailbox has been hit 4 times. Speeding is an ongoing issue. Thus far, the Sheriff's Department has been ineffective. Back a couple of months ago, there was a sheriff's car parked on Cimarron, and they were helping an elderly woman who had dementia. And when they were finished, we spoke to the officer and said, "You must see all these cars going by speeding. Why are no tickets ever given?" And the response was, "The people in Palm Coast don't like to get tickets." You need to do something. You need to install speed cushions or something. Now I hear that a sidewalk has been proposed, and unfortunately the loudest noise is coming from those people who don't even live on Cimarron. This area was never designed for sidewalks. My driveway, for example, has brick pavers that go up to the house and the garage. There is a tunnel under the pavers and the concrete to allow water to pass through the swales. We also have an underground sprinkler system. Is the plan to destroy a portion of this by putting in these sidewalks? Pedestrians primarily walk on the side streets, not on Cimarron. Cochise, right across the street from my house, is several miles long, and there is less traffic there. bikers should go to one of the many beautiful parks and trails that were designed for bikes and ride their bikes there, not on sidewalks. In conclusion, I would like to read one headline from the Observer recently. The city faces budget increases as material costs rise. Mr. Mayor, please put an end to this folly. Don't make sidewalks on Cimarron another Flagler folly. Thank you so very much for hearing my comments.
Thank you for your comment. Can I invite the next speaker, please?
Good evening. My name is Gwen Christensen, and we live off of Cimarron Drive here in the C section of Palm Coast. First, I would like to thank Mayor Alphen and the members of the City Council for continuing to forge forward with the efforts to make Cimarron Drive a safer road for all people, biking, walking, and especially children getting to and from the bus stops. My husband and I moved to Palm Coast about 2 years ago, and we were very excited to join this community and learned that there were over 170 miles of trails and bike paths here in the area. Since we live off of Cimarron, that is the only way for us to leave our home and bike to the numerous bike paths. The ride down Cimarron is the most dangerous part of any bike ride. There is no sidewalk or even a bike lane, and cars often have to veer out into the oncoming lane to safely pass us by. There are most often numerous service trucks also parked on both sides of the road, which often requires us to veer out into the lane to safely pass them. We understand that a study was conducted in 2021 to track the daily traffic count, which at that time was 3,200 vehicles. Now, a year later, another study was done, and this has now increased to over 3,700 vehicles per day. An increase of 500 vehicles in just 1 year, and more empty lots are filling in every week, which means more residents and an increase in service vehicles too. We also understand that there are additional homes planned for the sanctuary, and the only way to reach that community is off of Cimarron Drive. What will the traffic count be next year? It is also our understanding that surveys have been done with the residents on Cimarron Drive, and the most recent survey results were over 90% in favor of making this road safer for bikers, walkers, and children. The community has spoken, and we now need the council to approve plans to move this initiative forward. Signs to share the road have had a very limited impact on the safety of the residents. We know that this conversation and effort has been on the council table probably since 2008 is what I've heard. We do understand that it takes time, studies, and money to move any changes forward. It is now time for the council to approve a plan and inform the residents of the timeline of these next steps in order to address the community safety issues of this busy road. Please let us know what timeline is in place so this will be approved for the 2023 city budget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Next speaker, please. Is there another speaker that would like to address City Council at this time? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Faiti Alfagali. We moved into the area in 1997, before Palm Coast even became a city. So I was very pleased to see how well designed the community was. There was a lot of thought put in by ITT in their designs. Some things have been modified. You know, the sanctuary was supposed to be a sanctuary, and they're my neighbors, and I embrace them. But that put a new stress on the roadway and all the rest. A lot has been said, and there's a lot of good ideas, and I appreciate appreciate all the interest and efforts on your part. I truly mean that. I want to call out the mayor in particular. It was 24 hours after he was elected that he came to a meeting regarding this problem. It was that weekend that he took an impromptu meeting with a number of my neighbors on the street. We were all walkers. I've been walking since then. My dad is 93 years old. We walk daily, and I'll get to the photographs shortly about that. Only 3 pictures that summarize what's going on and put a face on this. But I'm also grateful of all the fact-finding that you've done. You know, the monitoring the speed, the placing of the 2 officer police cars there to try to modify behavior with the new population. I walk every day with my father up and down Palm Coast, and if I may, if I could ask you to refer to the first photograph. This is on a Sunday, this Sunday. I want to make this timely. You'll see we'll dodge inside the corners a little bit, and those swells do get filled up, and it becomes a little bit dangerous. You know, my ask so far of all these great ideas that I've heard, it seems like a one-sided sidewalk, especially for the children and the rest, and for the walkers, is a halfway program. The second picture I have is with my father passing. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Come forward.
No, please.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
Please continue, I'm sorry.
The second is when he passes a mailbox. And as you can see, some of the mailboxes are in the street, so you dash or you move around. You know, the sidewalk would preclude something like that, and it's not intentional. The third picture, and the final one, was taken this morning when I went for my walk. As the mayor knows, you know, you do business in Asia, 4 o'clock in the morning is 4 o'clock p.m. It's also 10 o'clock there. Perfect time to get out, go for a stroll. Go all the way down Cimarron, make a right, go to the park. This is not a photoshopped, and I offer the picture. They're just dark black spots, you know, and there are other people out there that are walking. Now, I engage in a lot of conspicuosity by wearing a flashing wristband and so forth and so on. I just wanted to take this time to give you some extra data points with people that are doing this on a regular basis. And again, I want to thank you all for making this an important issue that you're considering. I understand budgets, and I appreciate your fiscal responsibility in addressing this in the most prudent fashion. Thank you so much, folks.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. I invite the next speaker, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and everyone. My name is Dan Christensen, and I live off of Cimarron for almost 2 years. I'm an active biker and drive on Cimarron many times a day. I live near the end of it, so I'm very aware of all of its issues. I have seen and almost been involved in many close calls on this dangerous road. Many of my neighbors no longer walk or bike on Cimarron because it's too busy and dangerous. Many of them put their bikes in their cars and take them to St. Joe's Access. They are the lucky ones that can pick up their bikes. However, there are many people that cannot pick up a bike due to age or being disabled. The problem started back when Palm Coast roads and sidewalks were laid out. There were many mistakes made all over our town regarding sidewalks and safe places for people to get around. I understand that it was done many years ago, and now it's the city's job to try to correct the past design flaws. I am sure there are millions of dollars spent on the amazing walking and bike paths around our town. Everyone that uses them enjoys them, and they are amazing. We are all very lucky to have them. However, the routes to get to the bike and walking paths were not planned out in some of our neighborhoods. We are not the only street with these issues. I have seen many young people getting off the buses, bikers, walkers, and people with dogs and strollers and disabled people trying to travel on Cimarron by dodging the traffic and hiding in the driveways or in the grass to avoid getting hit. One of my neighbors has been hit twice by trucks' mirrors, and they never stopped to check on him. I have heard that our neighbors that use Cimarron have been trying to get a sidewalk or the road widened since 2008. It is almost 14 years. I can't believe that a city would continue to expose itself to such liability. I'm a businessman, and if I owned a business where people keep or kept asking me to protect them from a dangerous situation, I would react and solve the issues, and the cost of fixing these issues would certainly be more cost-effective than injuring or death, and also a huge lawsuit to follow. Something needs to be done before this happens to our city. I am still amazed that with all the disability acts that are on the legal books of today, that someone has not charged the city with a lawsuit to get a better ways for disabled people to get around. If this was a larger, more developed city, this topic would have been solved many years ago. I am hoping that the city will include a sidewalk or road widening budget for the Cimarron in the next year's fiscal budget. I also hope that no more people need to get hurt or possibly killed to get the city to react to this problem. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Is there a next speaker, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'm Al Cryer, Safety on Cimarron, and I think we've reached a point where we can do one of two things. One is let's just go on and see what happens. Funds will come, maybe funds won't come. Maybe something will happen where we can get it done. And I have a problem looking out at 2024. I asked you people, whatever way, let's take a look at all the figures. I know this is going to hurt. We might have to shave something someplace. If it isn't dealing with safety and it's unsafe item, maybe we can take a few bucks off of that one, few bucks off of this one, come up with enough dollars to do something. Now, I'm not saying that we got to do all these collector streets at once. Let's grab one of them. We can take that course. Sit back, take it easy. I need a rest anyway. Okay, number two. Number two is an opportunity, and it's looking us right in the eye here. It's a big problem. We inherited it. IT&T gave us a heck of a lot of good stuff too, but this wasn't one of them, God's sakes. But it's ours. We got to do something about it. We got to tax something. If we don't, the legal guys will get on it. Nothing against the law people, but we're going to spend money on legal defense, etc., and we won't see anything. We won't see a speed bump. We won't see more signs, what have you. So I make a case for the second part of let's do something. Let's see what we can do. If there's a will to do something, we see it all the time, every day. It can be done, and that's raising a little bit of money to grab one of these streets and do it. So that's enough on that. Next week, there's some figures that came out a week ago. I'll be here on Tuesday, and we'll discuss them a little bit. Florida is not in a good position. Flagler and Volusia got thrown into it. So, but, okay. And that's pretty much, we got one way or the other going. And let's give it some thought. Let's do whatever we can in God's power to do something sooner. Because if we don't do it sooner, there's too many bad things that can happen. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I thought you only worked 3 days a week. This man works 7 days a week. How do I know that? He calls me on Saturday. He texts me on Sunday. No matter where I go, I've been here 22 years. I've never seen a presence of a mayor like this one. He was at our very first city meeting with our neighborhood. He came out and walked the whole neighborhood as far as I could walk. I should have got my partner over here with him and, at 93. But, Mr. Mayor, I would like to thank you for what you've done. You've put a lot of heart in it, brought it this far. And also, I wanted to say one more thing. A lot of people came here tonight. I want to thank you. I know most of them are from Cimarron, but it was the orderly fashion in which they conducted themselves. And every one of them says, hey, I like living here, and I like living here. So I am a little over time. I'm going to really get kicked out. Thank you very much, all you people.
We thank you for your comment. Are there any other, yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Mayor? I live on 74 Cimarron, and all these people want sidewalks.
Your name just for the record, please.
William Fining, F-I-N-I-N-G. There comes to one thing. They gave up their community for cars. You cannot, I don't care if you put sidewalks in, you do this, you make bike. If you don't stop the cars from speeding, it ain't gonna do no good. Now, it's 30 miles an hour, and a residential area, it's too fast. Well, I lived in New York, I lived in Delaware, everything was 25 miles an hour. So you got 30, they're doing 50, and they will not stop. I had to put spikes all on my front lawn because I live by Cochise in front of me. When a guy's making a left turn, they go right through my lawn. They will not stop. You go there on a Monday, you order trucks and order, it's wide open spaces for them. And down there in the fancy neighborhood, they think that's a straight highway, shoom, right through, 50, 60 miles an hour. And they put cops there, well, you might as well put a neon sign on them because they stick them out in the middle, hide them, and give tickets out, and that will pay for your signs, and all this will slow down. But if you don't do that, I don't care if you put 50 sidewalks there, ain't gonna do no good. And I want to thank you for listening to me, but I told you once before, they drive too fast. And who's complaining? And that's the same people who's complaining. They're the one driving that way. I walk every night, and I see them, but they complain. It's all right what they do, but they don't want nobody else to do it. If you don't stop the speeding, it ain't gonna do no good. You're wasting your money. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for your comment. Any other members of the audience? Yes, sir.
Steve Carr, Palm Coast. Yes, the speeding is a problem. Florida Park Drive's closed because of some maintenance that has to be done on the road work. But that doesn't stop the people from speeding up and down Florida Park Drive between the detours. I'm just letting you know speeding is still going on Florida Park Drive. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other members of the public like to address City Council at this time? Seeing no visitors come forward, I will close this section of the agenda for public comment and return to the dais. Does City Council member have any comments this evening?
If I may, Mayor.
Please.
So I'd like to address the citizens for the Committee on Safety on Cimarron. When you speak about our children of our community and the safety of them, it hits close to home for me. I have 3 children myself. We live off of Cimarron as well. I try and be very cognizant of my speed on Cimarron and of the people that are jogging, walking, and biking. But also because in my role with the school district as principal, I actually lost a student at a bus stop in the morning. So when you speak of that, it strikes a chord with me. It really does. So I would like to ask the city to look for ways to fund sidewalks. I know Cimarron was not at the top of the list. There are some other sidewalks that were up higher on the list, and it's because of students walking to school and being in those walk zones. So I would like the city to look for grant opportunities. There are safe school grants that we can look at. I would also ask that that U.S. citizens look for grant opportunities. I would like to work with you to find money to fund sidewalks in our community. It is a competing initiative because we're significantly behind on funding our roads. And we've got to make sure that we have safe roads as well as safe sidewalks to travel on. So we are going to have to think outside of the box. We are going to have to get creative with funding. And I would like to see some of those initiatives move forward for your safety and for the safety of our students.
Thank you, Councilman. I would just ask you again to make sure that either Mr. Cryer or you fill out a card so that our city manager has the follow-up information so that we can keep you abreast of our discussions here at the City Council. So thank you all. With that, I will move to the minutes portion of the agenda, and I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of City Council for the meeting on July 19th, 2022, which was a business meeting, and also the meeting held on July the 26th, 2022, which was a special budget meeting. I have a motion to approve, and I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Does the clerk have the count?
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. The next order of business will be a very special proclamation. It is my personal honor tonight to offer a proclamation about Purple Heart Day. And I know that everyone on the dais and everyone in the room is familiar with, the Purple Heart and may or may not be familiar with the full history. I will just share this comment, which is why I took it upon myself to read the proclamation tonight. My dad received the Purple Heart so many years ago for his service in Korea. And the reason I bring it up is that I grew up with him, and there was always a very proud framed picture of medals that hung in a den in our home. One of those was his Purple Heart. And I can tell you, for all the years growing up, that was one honor that he received that he never ever spoke about. So I share that because I think that's probably the case with so many of our veterans that have suffered in some way and been awarded a Purple Heart. And I want all of you to know that. So the proclamation tonight is very, very important. And I have Mr. Hanger here tonight, who will be receiving our proclamation. So with your permission, sir, I will read the proclamation. Whereas the Purple Heart, originally known as the Badge of Military Merit, is an American decoration, the oldest military decoration in the United States still given. And whereas the Purple Heart was established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York on August the 7th, 1782, during the Revolutionary War, as an award for members of the Continental Army. And whereas it was the first award made available to the common soldier to recognize outstanding valor or merit. And whereas following nearly 150 years of disuse, the Purple Heart was reestablished by the President of the United States per War Department General Order Number 3, dated February the 22nd, 1932. And whereas the Purple Heart is a combat decoration awarded to a member of the United States Armed Forces who has been wounded or paid the ultimate sacrifice in combat with a declared enemy of the United States of America, and whereas there are approximately 1.8 million Purple Heart recipients in our nation's history, and whereas the city of Palm Coast appreciates the sacrifices our Purple Heart recipients made in defending our freedoms and believe it is important that we acknowledge them for their courage and show them the honor and support that they have earned. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the mayor and the city council of the city of Palm Coast, Florida, that August the 7th, 2022, be designated as Purple Heart Day, and encourage all citizens to show their appreciation for the sacrifices our Purple Heart recipients have made in defending our freedoms, to acknowledge their courage and to show them the honor and support they have earned. Signed this second day of August 2022, Mayor of Palm Coast. I congratulate you, sir, and thank you for all of the service that you have rendered, and not for just yourself, for all of your brothers and all of your sisters that has sacrificed so much for every one of us. And now I will put you on the spot because you need to say a word or two.
Mr. Mayor, esteemed colleagues of the board, my fellow Americans, I didn't prepare for this. However, I'm not only proud and humbled to receive this award, but I am honored on behalf of all those I represent. So we thank you for this recognition, and for those of you who do not know, we have over 13,000 veterans here in the county. And as a per capita piece of information, we are the third highest populated county in the state of Florida with veterans. And I will tell you this, I have lived here since 1979, and was working with ITT when I came down, and I've known an increase in the services provided here in the county to our veterans. I've noticed an increase in the number of veterans-related charities, both recognized and part of the federal government, like DAV, the VFW, the American Legion. We also have a plethora of other veterans charities that have grown from our grassroots. That makes us a unique community. So I want to thank all of those, Kathy Hyder being the director of one of them, and we have a number of others in the county. So I want to thank you for that. And please remember, one of the things that I've noticed as a member of the DAV and VFW is that many of our veteran citizens do not know, they're not aware of the level of services and organizations that are here in the community. And I enjoin each and every one of you to take a look and find out what's offered to veterans, so that if you happen to run across one who might be brave enough to wear a hat, find out if they're a member of one of the organizations. Introduce them to our county, because we do a lot here, and I thank every one of you here in the city. And also, I will notice that Monday was for the county, declared this is a Purple Heart Month in the county, because we are a Purple Heart County. And for that, I am proud to serve and render. Thank you so much, and God bless America.
There's just one other side note, and I'll direct this to the city manager. The DAV, and I think this is an appropriate time, has made a request of the city. If the city should find a pair of handicap-type handrails that might be in a storage or not being used efficiently or effectively by the city, I know that the DAV has a great use, which would also help our veterans. So I would just ask city manager to look into that, and I hope you'll report that back to your commander.
I will definitely do that.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
We move along on the agenda. The next item will be, as we begin today with the City Council business portion of the meeting, I want to take a moment to discuss City Council processes relating to approval or denial of items presented to City Council at all business meetings. For each workshop, City Council receives a comprehensive overview of each item, and at that time, it is Council's opportunity to provide opinions and ask questions on each item. Just as a reminder, items that are quasi-judicial in nature will require Council to base their decisions on only what is presented at the scheduled public hearings conducted at the scheduled business meetings. The purpose of a business meeting is for Council to review and weigh all the evidence and take action with decisions based on all information presented both at the prior workshop and today. And with that, I will move to item number G, which would be ordinances, second read, item number 3, and I would ask Council to read the item into the file, please.
Yes, this is for rezoning application number 5064, the Seminole Point rezoning, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code, amending the official zoning map for 67.69 acres of certain real property generally located at the intersection of US 1 and Seminole Woods Boulevard, and more particularly described in the attached Exhibit A, to reconfigure the existing high-intensity commercial and multifamily residential zoning districts, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. City Council members, this item is a quasi-judicial matter. Therefore, you're required to disclose any ex parte communications you may have had on this matter and whether or not they will influence your decision today.
None.
None. Nor do I. There are no, Councilman? No.
None.
Okay. There are no conflicts.
Thank you.
Staff has a brief summary.
Yeah, just a brief summary. Again, this is a second read, and if you recall, we don't have a formal presentation, but if you recall from the last reading, this property was located off of Seminole Woods, just north in State Road US 1. It's where Integra Woods is, and as you recall at the last meeting, it was a reconfiguration of the commercial and the multifamily where they reconfigured it for a potential shopping center. So this was approved at the last meeting. We have no other further information. We're here for questions, and the applicant is also here as well.
Just relate the results of the planning board.
The planning board recommended approval of this project. And
If I remember correctly, it was unanimous?
Yes, and they're recommending that City Council...
It was 6-0.
That is consistent with our comp plan and land development.
I will first ask City Council members, do you have questions or any additional detail at this time?
I have none.
Okay, nor do I. So I would open the item up for the public at this time. Are there any members of the public that would like to address City Council regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, I will close the public portion of the item, come back to City Council. Any further discussion? Then I would ask for a motion.
So moved.
So I have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? I would ask the clerk to do a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Branquino does not vote tonight. Councilman Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Finelli?
Yes.
Councilmember Clufus?
Affirmative.
Mayor Alfin?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
We move on to item number H, which are resolutions, and I would ask Council to read the number 4 resolution into the record, please.
Yes, this is a resolution concerning building permitting and inspection fees. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, amending Resolution 2021-98, relating to the building administration plan review and inspection fees, providing for implementing actions, providing for non-codification, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. DiLorenzo, do you have a
Yeah, short presentation.
short presentation? Good.
Yep. Jason DiLorenzo, Chief Development Officer. Good evening. As I mentioned last week at the council meeting, we need to make some adjustments to our building fees, and wanted to point out so far, year to date, from October 1st, this is our fiscal year, through July the 28th, we had applications for 14,683 building permits, and that's of all types of building permits. I pulled out some highlights that I thought might interest you. 1,459 homes, 239 renovations, and 188 residential building additions. That's really good investment in our community. Roofs being replaced at a high rate, over 3,200 of them. Lots of pools, 350 pools, and Councilman Klukas, I threw this one in here for you. 411 photovoltaic solar, which is not solar pools, that's solar electric. All of those permits produce 54,229 inspections performed by our building inspectors. And this is really where lies our financial issue that we're going to get to. Our revenue model isn't very far off from, if you remember, approximately a year ago, we completed a study and we put in a new fee schedule, and it was based on actual permitting. And our model isn't that far off. We were actually pretty close on it. But the amount of inspections that we are doing has increased significantly, and our level of service is, if you call in an inspection by 7 a.m., we complete it every day, Monday through Friday. And so that doesn't matter how many inspectors we have working that day. We do them all each and every day. They're a hard-working crew. They stay late if they need to. They get it done. And so this has kind of led us forward here to some concerns about our gap between our revenue and expenses, which in an enterprise fund like the building fund is regulated by Florida statute, specifically 553.80. And in bold here, I will read, a local government may not carry forward an amount exceeding the average of its operating budget for enforcing the Florida Building Code for the previous 4 fiscal years. And we are at risk of eclipsing that number by the end of this fiscal year if we don't make some immediate changes. That number for us, our 4-year rolling operating budget, is a little over $2.9 million. You'll remember we carried forward from 2021 about $1.8 million, and our gap has increased to $2.6 million as of June 30th, which is the last month that Finance has completed before this presentation. So what we are proposing is to immediately reduce the adopted building permit fees by 50%. So that is every building permit fee that is under 553.80. There are other portions that get paid as part of the building fee, but those will not be reduced. There's stormwater fees, there's impact fees. Those will not change. It will just be the fees related to building. And then we will, we don't want to carry that much. It's too, we think it's more than we need to really carry. We'd like to get it back under $2 million. So we will monitor revenue. We will carry the reduction into next fiscal year and manage it from there. And once we realize that we are going to run below the $2 million amount, we will then notice the public of 60 days to let them know that fees will be adjusting. And we may not go back to 100% at that point. We may try to balance our expenses and revenues a little bit better than we've been able to do this year. I think I told you last week that we are nearly fully staffed. That will help offset, our expenses will be more accurate with that for next year. You'll remember in the budget, we requested an additional inspector. We have folks we have applications for that position already, which is really good. So we think we'll be able to hit the ground running in October right away if you approve that. And I will take any questions that you might have on.
So just two comments, if I may. First, you're in communication with the Flagler County Home Builders Association. Can we appeal to them to look at this discount in permit fees to pass along to the ultimate buyers of the homes to help us with the median price that has increased so dramatically in these past years? I would hope that our home buyers would enjoy some of, if not all of the benefit of this reduction in fees, because historically it gets passed along, obviously to the list price and the eventual selling price. So I would hope we continue to make that point with the home builders. And I would like to revisit and underscore, I see we have a freelance media guest here this evening, that the large number of permits, I want the public to understand, those are permits for everything. Little stuff, big stuff, those are not permits for homes or any other kind of dwelling units, only a small portion of them. The big numbers are in additions, corrections, renovations, repairs, and on and on and on, which I also agree that your staff does an excellent job in keeping up with the pace in the community. It's one of those things that helps to protect the lifestyle of our community. Are there any other comments from city council members?
One comment I'd like to make is, and I think it's worth exemplifying, is that we are same day responding to individuals who are trying to get inspections done, and that's incredibly helpful to keep the process streamlined for all of these builders, and also maintenance that's happening across the city, whether it's from an air conditioner to a roof. I just wanted to say great job to your team, great job to your staff. I understand that now that we're fully staffed, we'll be able to more in equilibrium balance our expenses and our revenues, but I just want to say hats off, because I know we're operating a little bit short-staffed in your department, and still be able to hold this level of service is something that you should really be proud of.
Thank you. I will pass that on. And yes, sir, I will speak with the Home Builders Association about your comments.
Other comments?
Councilman Clufus's remarks.
Very good.
Thank you, and to all of our city staff that make sure that our dwellings are safe and that all the work that is being done appropriately. One thing that I do want to mention is that this money is not money that can roll over into the general fund or anything like that. This is money that has to stay in the lane it's in. So all we can do is reduce the cost of the permits. It's not like this money could be used for other purposes.
That is absolutely that is correct, and I can even give you an example of how strict it is. Right? We can't complete a permit for a home without it going through zoning review, but these building permit fees under 55380 cannot pay for the zoning technician that has to review it, because zoning is not a portion of the Florida Building Code.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, if there are no other comments by City Council, I would open this item up to the public. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment on the item at this time? Seeing no one come forward, I will close public comment. Any further discussion by City Council? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve, and I have a motion to second. Let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Danko?
Yes.
Councilmember Finelli?
Yes.
Councilmember Clufus?
Affirmative.
Mayor Alfin?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our consent agenda, and I would ask City Council, are there any items in the consent agenda that you would like removed for additional discussion? Hearing none. I would offer the consent agenda for members of the public to comment on at this time. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward and make comment to City Council members? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Any last comment by City Council? I would ask for a motion for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion to approve.
Seconded.
And seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Clerk has the count.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much. We've reached the final public participation item of the agenda this evening. Are there any members in the audience, any visitors in the audience that would like to make public comment at this time? Yes, sir.
Alan Lowe. My comment is more of a question. I see that the walking bridge over by the school on Belterre is being torn apart and rebuilt. And I understand the time constraints of construction and so forth. Unfortunately, it's hitting at a time when the school there is about to open. And I've been walking around the P section lately and spoken with a lot of people that are concerned as to, have asked me, and I'm asking you because I don't have the answer, all of the kids that formerly were walking across that bridge, is there going to be some type of law enforcement presence or something to guide kids that will now sort of be walking on the street next to that fence instead of on the other side where the bridge is? So it's a question so that I can answer it to other people.
Very good. Thank you for your comment. City Manager, do you want to weigh in on that? Because we had a conversation earlier.
Yes, thank you. So specific to the operation of the school and the activity associated with that, with making sure students walk safely to school, especially the students that know this as a normal route. We are in active conversations with the school system, and we do have a safety plan of making sure that any student that wants to utilize the pathways can do that safely. And it will not be along the construction site. They'll be rerouted south to Whiteview and then north up where they can safely basically get to school. And there will be crossing guards and other representation to make sure that transition is seamless.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to make a final public comment tonight on items not previously discussed on the agenda? Seeing none, I will close the public comment portion, final public comment portion of the meeting. And we move on to discussion by City Council of matters not on the agenda. Anything for this evening?
I have nothing.
Councilman Finelli.
Just, school starts back a week from tomorrow, next Wednesday, so citizens, I ask that you be cognizant of all of our little travelers heading to the bus stop and heading to school in our community. I want to wish all of our students and our families and teachers a safe and healthy return back to school this fall. Thank you.
Councilman Clufus?
For sure. My one item, I would just like to comment about a successful event that we had this weekend, Keeping Palm Coast Beautiful. We did a trash pickup. There was tremendous participation. I want to thank all the staff and everyone from Public Works who puts in their time, and they really care about keeping Palm Coast beautiful. There was tremendous effort from the Girl Scout crew. There was the vice chair of our BAC was there, staff. Everyone was fantastic, and it was really great to see people coming in and taking Palm Coast's beauty seriously, and I think it really has an impact because everyone hates litter bugs. And it's really eye-opening when some of these numbers come to the front of how many tons of trash that our staff picks up each year. So I just wanted to, again, thank the staff and for a tremendous effort. Even though it was a little hot out there, we were able to get some trash. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. My comment is less fun.
Oh, no.
So this is the budget that we are in the midst of creating for the next fiscal period. I would ask each of my fellow council members to take the time and review the sections and the line items. And the reason for my request is I would ask each of us, myself included of course, to meet with the city manager and talk about any items that you see or don't fit a budget plan for your review of the budget. It would make the process better and more efficient and more effective if we are able to alert the city manager, who can then talk to the finance department if where there are specific areas that you would either like additional information, or you perhaps would like to decrease or increase, but point them out so that we can move forward with this process. City manager, can you just kind of briefly, in round numbers, review the timeline that we have left in order to complete the budget process?
Yes, Mayor. So we have a sequence of meetings coming up. Probably the most significant is coming up on August 30th to really have a comprehensive approach to the budget. So to your endorsement, Mayor, would want to make sure we had those meetings in the next 2 weeks at the latest.
Good, I appreciate that. And my final comment for this evening will be just an announcement to fellow council members that Councilman Clufus and I will attend the upcoming interlocal agreement concurrency oversight meeting for the school concurrency discussion. We obviously will report back to City Council at our next meeting on what transpires then. I just wanted to make you aware of that. With that, does the city attorney have any final comments for this evening?
I would like to say something if I
Yes, sir.
if I can.
Yes, sir, Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just want to basically tell the people of our area, Flagler County mainly, that don't let your guards down when it comes to COVID. I did it for the first time, let my guards down, and here I am for the last 7 days without even being able to speak with my wife less than 3 feet away from her. I mean, less than 10 to 15 feet away from her. So please keep your eyes open. Don't let your guards down. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you for your comment, Vice Mayor. With that, does the city manager have any final comments for this evening?
No additional comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. Well, with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. I have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. We are adjourned.